June 14th, 2021. I'm going to call the Prescott regular city council meeting to order. Take a roll call. Tomas?
Here.
Bailey Rona?
Here.
Rob Doherty?
Here.
Dar Hintz?
Here.
Patrick is excused, and I'm not sure where Maureen is at this point. Next item on the agenda is public comments. Anybody in the audience who wants to speak to the council on anything that's on the agenda, now is fine. Step forward, state your name, address, and what you'd like to say. Seeing no one rushing to the podium, we're going to go to the next item, the consent agenda. Regular city council meeting of May 24th, special council meeting of June 7th, Parks and Public Property of May 24th, Personnel of May 26th, Licensing Committee of June 2nd, Plan Commission of June 7th, Housing Authority April 4th, Pine Glen Cemetery Association meeting May 22nd, the cash balances, accounts payable and payroll, and the receivables.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and second, approve the consent agenda and the 11 items I just read off. Is there any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item on agenda is report of standing committees. We got Finance Committee, possible discussion of possible action on purchase of tanker truck in the amount of $350,000. Now this is a fire EMS issue. I do have Tom Little, Fire Chief, in the audience to answer questions. I'm going to let Tom Oss, if he wants, just explain his thoughts and ideas. He is our representative on the police and fire, so he can let us know what was discussed a little bit. And if you want to read whatever you need to, Thomas, you can do that.
Yeah, the fire department is advocating their needs going forward for the city of Prescott and townships of Oak Grove and Clifton. One of those needs is a tanker truck. That equipment, in my opinion, is only for service in Oak Grove and Clifton and mutual aid situations for River Falls, Hastings, and Ellsworth. It is my view that the current formula for cost sharing on the population basis is not in the best interest of the Prescott taxpayers. I believe the only time the cost population sharing formula works on equipment is when those pieces of equipment are used equally by all three parties, i.e. pumpers, turnout gear, communications equipment, etc. That brings us to equipment like tankers that are only for Oak Grove and Clifton, and things like brush buggies, wildland fire equipment that is partially for the city and mostly for Oak Grove and Clifton. Equitably reshaping the existing agreement between the parties would be difficult. I do not know if the association can survive the process. So do we pay more than 50% of the cost of a piece of equipment we don't need to appease the other two parties and kick the can down the road? Or do we confront the inequities? I have concerns that all avenues of grant funding have not been explored. The 10-year amortization schedule has been included in this week's council packet. It's $24,339 a year for Prescott, $13,278 a year for Oak Grove, and $4,904 a year for Clifton for 10 years. Fair and equitable, is that fair and equitable for a piece of equipment that Prescott does not need? I serve on the Fire Commission under the direction of the mayor. If he feels at any time that I am not representing the best interests of the city of Prescott, it is my understanding that he can ask me to step aside, and I would if asked. Thank you.
Yep. All right. I don't know if Tom, you want to present anything, your thoughts, what the department is, the past history?
Past history.
They're going to ask you to come up here if you would, please.
And just the plan, what it has been as far as your capital equipment, you can explain how it's been done in the past. Just
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how far back you want me to go, but we came up with a rolling stock plan here probably 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, that was given out to Oak Grove, Prescott, city of Prescott, and Clifton townships. And it spelled out exactly when we need a specific piece of equipment, you know, so it goes all the way to, but we got it out there quite a ways. So we're at that point now where in that packet that was handed out, we're at the point where a 1990 tanker needs to be replaced. So that's where we're at, and that's where we sit. So probably a year and a half ago, we started talking about this truck. You know, anytime we talk about a piece of apparatus or anything that comes through, the question is always raised, do we go look for used or what? And it's under my direction from the association board to, no, we're not going to go look at a used piece of equipment. You know, so that's where we're at with that. So, and then going forward, obviously 10, 12 years ago, we built Station 2 out in Oak Grove Township. We've got 10 members out in Oak Grove Township now. It's growing in the past 10 years. I mean, we maybe started out with just a few out there, and we've grown. So, so what we really are doing with that station is building that station around, you know, the time of day and everything, when nobody knows when calls are or whatever else. So we're building trucks to the fact that to the spec to where, you know, you can run a truck with 3, 4 guys, 2 guys, until you get that support coming from us that is more populated in the city. So moving forward with this tanker that needs to be replaced is the spec that we came up with. So I don't think it's overkill on a tanker, but again, it's built with, you know, a 750 gallon per minute pump with a couple cross lays, a trash line, and a bumper, which typical tanker will just hold. Ours today have hose reels on them or whatever else, you know. So if anybody's responding to a fire from Station 2, a barn fire, house fire, whatever it may be, they got a little more fire protection power. Some ladders, yeah.
So we would not use this tanker for Prescott?
The city of,
Yeah.
as much as any other equipment that's out there.
Okay.
I'm not saying no, because the engine that's out there, the brush truck that's out there, and the tanker that's out there, me and tanker, and yeah, no, we would use it as a backup, just like any other piece of equipment that's out there, for sure.
So, two things. One,
At some point, yeah.
Oak Grove built that fire station, right? Out of their money, or was it the
Yes.
association? Yeah, so
Oak Grove.
So Oak Grove built their station, you know, part of the association, just so everybody understand. Number two, now that I think of it more too, so it's not just a tanker. I could use this truck to fight a house fire here in town?
It's not considered a tanker pumper.
It's not a
It's a
full-fledged,
glorified tanker.
okay.
Um,
It doesn't suck
Correct.
water then,
could,
okay? Unlike a pumper that'll,
probably unlikely.
right.
Our tanker, yeah, all of our tankers now could suck water.
And
for
Tom,
sure.
you know this, just because I know Tom was on the fire department one time, that's kind of why I appointed him, but, all right, so it's not a true pumper,
No.
but it could pump water.
If
to
you
fight a
make that
house.
into a pump, if you say, well, why not a pumper tanker? Well, you're probably 800 grand, you know, to do that.
All right,
Plus you're giving up, you know, if you make it into a pumper tanker and guys respond to a call out there, now we're down to one tanker, you know, because then you're committing that truck to that fire
mhm.
instead of an engine, so,
And-
or it would be an engine.
And I have brought up Tom's concern in the past too about, you know, why do we pay for pumpers or tankers and for Prescott when we don't really need one? And then I know I was at the association meeting and they were kind of like, well, this isn't right. I said, well, maybe we should charge you partly for our water tower, because guess where you're getting your water from? So I was trying to make the point that I don't charge you for my water tower because you don't really need it, but yet they kind of do. So I half understand Tom's point and I half agree with him that, do we need a tanker here in town? No, we don't. So do we pay 25% instead of 50? And let the
I would
townships
not
pay
pay
more.
50, not if we're not gonna be using it within town. Well,
Yeah.
what'd you say, Beth? 58%.
So-
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, but what it is, you know, you
Yeah.
come together to try to save costs, but Tom's point, and I think you're seeing his point is, you know, why are we paying the majority of
I just
something that
think-
we don't truly need in Prescott? But that's part of the, you know, the association, you try to work together, but.
Over the years, we use tankers in towns. You got small lines out on Dakota Street that way.
Mhm.
You know,
Well, I'm not saying you wouldn't,
mains, you know, that helps support water.
I'm not saying you wouldn't, but, you know, it's less likely, so. But there's Tom's point. I mean, if we did have the water towers break down, if we had to go suck water out of the river, we can use tankers to still haul it to a house fire if something would go wrong, that we didn't have any water coming out of a hydrant. Am I right?
A point I would
rare,
like to
but yeah.
make.
Yep, go ahead, Tom.
Well, every 3 months, everybody that lives in the city of Prescott gets a water bill. And on that bill is a payment for fire services, which is really a payment for the maintenance of fire hydrants and the pipes through the city of Prescott. So if we were to apply the logic of the city should pay at a population basis for a tanker to service Oak Grove and Clifton, well, that same logic would say that Oak Grove and Clifton should contribute to the maintenance of fire hydrants and pipes within the city of Prescott. And I don't think that that would ever happen.
Mhm.
So that's just a point I'm making about our current situation. It's, like I say, it's not, I don't believe the current formula is equitable.
When is the next meeting, intergovernmental meeting?
July 7th, it's not intergovernmental, the next commission meeting is
Yes.
July 7th.
Okay.
The fire EMS, which is.
Well, they'll
intergovernmental.
go to that though? Oak Grove goes to that?
Yeah, Oak Grove and Clifton. They had some at the last meeting.
Yes.
And again, they were, you know, when Tom brought this up, and I said, I see Tom's point, and then they got a little heated about, wow, then we can start breaking down who pays for what, because, you know, we bought our own station, and, you know, and it got heated, and I understand their point, but in the same sense, it's because it's gonna cost them more if we would try to be equitable that way.
58% though.
So, Tom, what was, and I was on the fire and EMS board, and I don't ever recall the discussion when I was there about looking at used equipment. What is the board's view on not looking at used equipment?
You know, we take, the thing, is, what we've always really done in the past, and, we take our equipment out down 30 years. I mean, that's no secret, you know. So if we buy something that's already 10 years old, well, then we're gonna be replacing it 15, 20 years down the road instead of 30.
Sure.
I mean, I feel we take care of our equipment pretty well with maintenance and everything, so depends how you wanna weigh it, you know.
Sure.
The tank, I'm sorry, I don't know a lot about how you fight the fires in Clifton and Oak Grove. So the tanker has to go to every fire that's in those communities.
Correct.
Have no water hydrants to.
Yeah, because they have no hydrants.
A couple, sometimes, you know, we can have 6, 8 tankers at a rural fire out in any one of those areas.
How many tankers do we have then, or two?
No, one in the city and one house at Oak Grove.
And really just, you know, goes by population, we have 58% of the population, if we had all the populations together, and that's where we get our 58%.
I get that part of it.
Yep, okay, I wasn't sure if you knew where we got the 58.
Yeah. I'm just not, I'm kind of more aligned with Tom. I just think it'd be nice to maybe negotiate and have another sit down with them to be like, and if they want to bring up other costs, maybe that's the right discussion.
Well, in our last
to have, I guess, I don't know.
intergovernmental meeting, there was also a license committee meeting up here too, because I would have definitely wanted to go to that meeting as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had an
So-
important license meeting here.
You know, I mean, we've been talking about this truck for probably a year and a half now, and it's really kind of the first time it's ever been brought up is, you know, who's gonna pay for what, you know?
But John,
I need apparatus, you know?
I
Yeah,
think
and you're
So,
doing your job.
Yep.
before you bought
Absolutely.
No, I'm fine with
the
it.
last truck that we bought, there was a proposal to buy 2 at that given time. And the townships weren't able to come up with that because the city was ready to go ahead and do that. But the townships kind of couldn't do that. So are they, let's say we negotiate, that, are they gonna be able to come up with the funds to actually offset the cost for that? I mean, I'm not saying we should or we shouldn't pay 53% or whatever it is, but in order to actually get another truck, are the townships actually gonna be able to pony up X amount more money to actually make it so you can't even buy the truck? Is that even a possibility?
That's what they're talking tonight, whether they can afford what, or to try to prove this one now. They were gonna go back to their committees and say, can we afford this percentage right now, right, Beth? I think
Yeah.
is what they said.
And Tom, I know I had emailed you the fund balances today, or the stuff. Is there talks of possibly using some of that?
I have actually, Dari, there hasn't, I mean, there's money escrowed away, and the only time I've ever, I asked the question.
Yeah.
And it's in my head, I don't know.
Yeah.
I asked him about those funds, because I haven't heard anybody talk about anything that's escrowed away or whatever, so.
Yeah, because if we could take, what did I say?
50,
Plus the 80
80.
that's budgeted for this year. So even if we took 100,000 and took that off the total, that would be a huge difference. And, like even if you're still paying 58%, it's way less off the 350,000. I mean, we'd only start with 250,000. But that would be a decision that the association would have to make. But I know that there are funds there.
Are there any other grants that out there for fire trucks and?
good, yeah, probably, I mean, I think, like
Yeah,
I
we were
said
just,
tonight,
yeah, we were just talking about that. We've kind of seen a little something come down from FEMA, that there may be some in the next federal stuff that comes. But again, it's a wait and see game as to what they are gonna fund and what they're not gonna fund.
the latest AFG grant it's coming out, well, they're reviewing now for this year. There was really nothing in there for apparatus and that. It was all communications and stuff like that, so we applied for almost $60,000 worth of radios and upgrades there, so.
Yeah.
You're kind of at the mercy of, what's out there and what's available and what's their priorities as well, so.
Appreciate it. Any other questions?
I guess my question would be, do you think that the cost is gonna go up with how everything else is going up to them? Right now, if it went out a few more months to see?
I think we're kind of in the heat of those costs right now, it
Okay.
seems like. So the direction I've given the guys that are really putting this truck together is not to exceed that 350,000.
Okay.
We've had other quotes in for plus 400, and so.
If I understand the numbers right, our payment annually will be just over $24,000, right?
That's on what, 10 years?
On a 10-year.
What?
It's on
Every
a
year.
10-year.
That's
For 10 years, yeah. That's like half of what we're expecting from the first kid.
I think it's just, if we want to have the discussion now about if it's going to be equipment that's going to be stationed for out there, should we really be doing it by the population base if it's not going to be used for our population or not? I guess I don't.
Yeah. I think it's a good question.
So,
And this is also for,
Yeah, the 20
the
years
approval and
probably.
build and to take ownership like in 2022 as well, so.
We just want to back you up a little bit. The 10-year actually is a $42,000 amortization payment.
It's this.
The 20-year is the 25.
Oh, yeah, I see that now.
I would like to know if the association has any funds set aside that they'd be willing to spend towards this.
that's what Beth just said. I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
We can investigate that a little bit more.
That's a huge chunk out of our budget.
I know.
I guess.
Especially for equipment we're not going to use here, for here.
So, again, I know Tom's position, I think Bailey's too. I'm not sure, a couple of you have asked questions, but is your position that we'd still like to discuss more, or have the associations discuss more about the equitable, because we don't
Absolutely.
truly
Yeah.
need a tanker? And then, kind of go from there?
Well,
So,
it's not defining, do we not truly need a tanker? Let's just have another discussion.
but that's,
Obviously, we need it.
Yeah,
I mean,
Right.
for the townships,
Absolutely.
but I just
I
think we
mean,
need to figure out how
And there
we
are
should go
times
about
when
it.
they will feel that, they have put forth financing towards things that only maybe serve Prescott.
I don't
I
know what that
wish-
would be.
I don't know either, but
There's nothing that we
believe me,
have.
I've
that's just-
sat in those meetings, you'd
Sure,
be amazed what they
sure.
can come up with.
There's not
That
much
that's-
that you have that just serves Prescott, I would assume.
We try to keep engine one in town only, but it doesn't always happen.
But it is a truck that would go out if you
Oh,
needed
yeah,
it in a heartbeat.
for
So it's
sure.
not just a Prescott truck.
Right.
But they're the same with this tanker. I mean,
Yeah, I
if it's
mean-
90% Oak Grove Clifton, we still could be something we would use. So it's to say that it's not ours at all, of course, would be.
We do fill ice skating rinks.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Well, and the,
No, I mean,
I know.
there's been times where we've needed it in
The gutting
town,
fire.
and
There's a couple houses
it's
that-
not always.
They're
but
not within
You get
hydrant range.
You get out on Pearl Street way in the back, where
I know.
Jake's are.
Down on Lake
You
Street,
have to.
maybe?
You can't even get, yeah.
yeah.
Lake Street might be a couple.
Yeah.
So again, it's not that we don't, but again, the 58% is just, the
Correct.
two, and I kind of half agree with it, but I know it's been a long time standing, it's just always been population, no matter what it was purchased, and is that always right? That's, I think, Tom's point, is should we update on equipments, and, we fix our own building here in town, it's not the township that paid for the re-roofing of the fire hall, I mean, that was kind of talked about too, so.
Yeah.
So can when is your, you must tell them to move ahead with the building?
We got some time.
Okay, well, do we have?
Probably a few months, for
One
sure.
month
I mean,
wouldn't hurt,
we're-
1 month wouldn't hurt you if we waited a
No,
month.
we're targeted for 2022, and it's, this isn't a rescue truck or a pumper either.
And then maybe we
Some
can see
material
what
might
the
be-
FEMA
Well-
grant has, yeah.
yeah, we could, and if it is 2022, I mean, if we put more money into that escrow fund balance too, there could be more there.
Or
'Cause we-
again, is it 58%?
It's another,
24,
yeah,
you know,
but
the
I do
percentage.
want to say that we're going to be going out for our large borrowing for the 150 acres.
Oh, yeah.
And if we're going to do any borrowing, I would like to do that at the same time. So that's my only time crunch.
And what's?
Well, we were hoping to get that finished within like a month and a half.
Okay,
So,
so we have a little bit of wiggle room
yeah, I just
there.
don't want to push it on the back burner and
Right.
then us decide and that already be
Right.
closing, so.
We
Can
could
we
s-
get
So
another
they have-
intergovernmental meeting that more of us could attend to talk about this one more time?
This committee meeting is on July 7th, you said?
I'm not gonna be here July
That's
7th,
EMS.
but fire and EMS, they can
Yeah.
put it on the
And I
agenda.
don't want all of us there, I'd like 1 or 2 reps. but
I'm
we
guessing
don't
the
need to go there.
townships have to have,
full
it,
guns.
when their
Alright.
meetings are.
I don't have,
Yeah,
I don't have to be there, but
No,
I'm
you don't.
concerned.
like I said in my statement, equitably reshaping this agreement is going to be really hard. It's not going to be easy. And I don't even know, in my heart of hearts, if this organization of the three, if it can be done, it may blow up the whole thing. Because we're not talking about peanuts now, we're talking about a lot of money. And we both, I spent more than 10 years on that fire department. And the amount of times we used a tanker in the city of Prescott was just about nil. So I understand that Prescott would have some
Use.
of it, but certainly not 58%.
I think we're to terms on that, so I guess at this point, it sounds like the council is not ready to approve our percentage to purchase that truck.
Not at the time.
And we're still, not that, again, we'd like to talk to the townships, and again, I know they won't be happy just because it's gonna cost them more. And again, as Tom says, they might get excited enough, because they did at that meeting when I tried to say, I understand where Tom's coming from, and say, well, you don't pay the water tower that we buy, and your water comes from there. And they seemed a little heated. Well, let's start breaking down who pays for what. We built a new station. Okay, well, we still have the state, you know, you could go that way all day long, and it depends if we can all go in, you know, reasonable, or if some people just say, no, you're coming after us, making us pay more money. Well,
Maybe.
Well, when you bought engine one, it's primarily used in the city of Prescott.
well, that'll go anywhere it needs to be.
I know it
He
does.
says that,
I know that.
but in reality,
But-
that
but
would leave the town.
on the other
just-
hand, you're also saying the tanker could go anywhere also.
Hmm?
I said the tanker can go anywhere also.
Possibly.
Okay, so you
But the
see,
difference is,
where I'm going here?
Yes, I do, but the pumper,
Okay,
the
so-
pumper goes both ways. The
I
tanker
know.
really only needs one, really, in reality. I know where you're
Maybe.
coming from. I do.
Maybe. Okay, we've never debated this ever before.
Yeah, no.
You know, when we've bought a couple, since I've been on the council, we've bought a couple of trucks. And we've never squabbled over where it goes and who pays what and all that stuff. It's like, you know, the fire department is the fire department, and it services Prescott and Clifton and Oak Grove Township. And that's the way it's always been, and I'm having a hard time saying that we need, I don't think it's gonna happen if you go out and ask them for more money. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, our newest tanker we bought back in 2003 now.
So, you know, I mean, we've never had any issues with it in the past. Yeah, I get it. You know, tanker's gonna be for there, but it's part of the fire department. The fire department services everything. So that's just my point.
I can see that.
You know, I mean, if you wanna
That's
go
why
back
it's
to
so
the,
difficult. That's why it's a difficult
if you wanna go back to
discussion.
the townships and all that, you know, I don't have any problem with that, but, you know, put your seatbelt on.
Oh,
I would
yeah,
like
I
to know
know.
if we do have money escrowed though.
That's the
that
point
we
I'm
could
making.
use.
It's,
There is.
Yeah, that's what I would really like to know, is if there's money escrowed that could be going
Right.
towards this, where we could relook
Yeah,
at the
I get that.
amortization stuff.
Absolutely.
So,
I thought
I
that
think
we
that-
had recommended some kind of escrow fund that would be able to begin to pay for equipment down the road. And, but in order to get, I mean, we knew there was, when we originally looked at how that schedule might work, we knew that we were going to be on the line for a couple of trucks before we had anything in escrow that we could use. I don't want to rob future trucks just because we're hung up on this one. You know,
I think we're gonna have to get it either way, I just think we just need to sit down and
Right.
figure it out.
So
Yeah.
the escrow, all three municipalities donated to that escrow, not the city of
Correct.
Prescott.
Yep. So
Yep,
that would
all
come
three.
first
And
everything
to
else
Rob's
comes
point, yes, it's been that way for a long time. Doesn't mean you don't change it, Robert. You understand that too. At some point, it's like, you know what, is it time to say the equitable side, who needs more of what? Not that we don't donate, but do we donate less than 58%? You know, at this point, you know, we've got an agreement right now. When's it due to renew the EMS Association agreement? Do we have like a contract? It's every so many years?
Yeah, it's out of ways yet, 2025,
I think
2026.
that was just,
Yeah, it's
That was
it's
just
out of
approved at
ways.
the beginning of the year.
Because, you know, Tom's point is that maybe you don't fix it now, and maybe we, per, like Rob says, maybe you support this truck. But I think now's the time to say we need to start talking about what's really equitable. As far as what piece of equipment, maybe break it down by piece of equipment, who would use it the most, or who really needs it and who doesn't. Pumper one, yeah, it's fine. Do we pay more for the one? Yeah, and you know where I'm coming from, Tom.
it all depends how, you know.
You know where I'm coming from.
I do, I know exactly, but you can also say, I'm not arguing any point at all, but you can say, okay, we have 10 firemen out in Oak Grove Township that have turnout gear out there that the city of Prescott's paying for.
Mhm.
You
well,
know, I mean, there's all kinds of what ifs.
But you're more
That's
apt,
all I'm saying.
and I know that,
It's
but you're
just-
more apt to have the firemen respond into town than that tanker into town. That's, you know, but that's where you'd have to have that discussion. What really makes sense as far as each, and you don't want to break it down too much by piece of equipment.
We got minimal equipment out at Station 2. We do.
Was the agreement that we signed, was it about the population and basically across the board, like we would always pay for this,
Yeah.
they would always pay for this? That was a part of the association
I
agreement?
think so
Right,
now.
it was just, all expenses across the board would be divided based off of population.
So I think we got-
We looked at a number of things. We looked at value of homes, we looked at the amount
Number of
of,
parcels.
yeah, number of parcels, the square footage, the number of streets. I mean, we went back and forth on trying to determine what the determining factor would be to establish what that would be. And so it was
That's our-
tough.
Yeah,
That's
what
our
about-
agreement, that's gonna be,
I think so.
How about the proportion of tax base? Is that what you were
Yeah,
meant
we
by
looked
the
at.
property?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
So, per now Rob's point, and I think Bailey understands it, and I think even Tom down at the end will understand, if we had an agreement, we're going by population, we can continue doing that on this truck. But if we truly believe that maybe certain large pieces of equipment should be allocated differently, then we should have that discussion.
Well, I mean,
Well, it's my specific point.
Mhm.
The tanker in itself is pretty much strictly for the townships. And I did make the point in this statement that brush buggies and wildland firefighting gear is somewhat Prescott, but probably mostly for the township.
Yep.
And these are the questions that have to be addressed. Putting 58% of the cost of everything on the backs of the Prescott taxpayers to not talk about these difficult subjects is not equitable,
Yep.
and it never will be.
I don't know the contract, I've never looked at it, or what we have for this association, so I guess I'd like to understand if this is a part of that, and if we'd be violating it, or what, because that was an agreement that was set by the beginning of the year, so that'd be nice to understand, because we all agreed upon that.
I guess at this point,
Yeah.
with discussion, my recommendation or look for a motion to approve, the purchase of this or to move forward with it due to the existing contract, but also maybe for the city to sit down with the townships and explain again that the fire service, that's true. Where do they get their water on every fire? Some comes Ellsworth, some comes River Falls, some comes from Prescott. Most of it would be our hydrants they're tapping into.
Some on a big river.
And that's what I mean though, some of it does. But there again, you think about that and say, is it really worth renegotiating?
right, especially since they have to pay for their water. So anything that gets taken out, they get charged. Fire
But
department
everyone in the
gets charged.
city probably pays for their water too, and I have you fight my house fire.
Well, it depends on if they come and get a tank.
But I'm asking when they fight my house fire, do I get charged for water?
No.
Is that part of what they get charged for?
It's not. It's
Okay.
not. But they have to figure out how many, anytime that they bring in a tank,
I
they
understand
figure
that.
out how many they are, and then they get charged back for that. So the water portion of it is getting charged back.
I think it is only going to become completely, totally complex if we start to look at item by item.
Yeah, especially if at some point in time, we need a ladder truck.
Yeah.
It'll be in the city. I mean, that costs then.
I'm not comfortable with making a motion on it until I understand what the contract actually is. If Tom or Dara, I know you sat on it for a long time, maybe on the sidelines, email Jane kind of outline, or Jane, if you want to email us, so we can understand it better, so we can vote accordingly, or give advice moving forward, because I don't know it.
Well, I think it's
So I-
really the first look at it that you guys are really seeing. So I do think it needs to have a little bit more review from a lot of different eyes.
Like the
I mean,
escrow, the agreement,
Yeah.
and then if there's grants available,
Right.
and what could go towards that, so we're not looking at the 40,000, maybe it's less than that,
Right.
and then it's more manageable with the percentage that it's at and reasonable.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of options to be looked at.
So I would make a motion not to move forward until we get additional feedback from, city management.
On the contract itself? On the options for
on-
payment?
I think Bailey mentioned that she wants information about the contract,
Mm-hmm.
the, the availability of grants, the amount of money in the escrow, And, in that,
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was good.
So, because I think if we make a motion on this to approve getting the tanker and then we're approving what this is, I'm not okay with that right now, as it stands, I guess, personally.
Yeah, and especially if Tom thinks that we could wait a month, go back to the association, see what the other, communities have said too.
Yeah.
Town of Oak Grove and Clifton still have to
Well,
discuss
I'm sure
their
we can get
share.
all this information before the 7th, so.
Oh, yeah.
If they have that meeting on the 7th, and we get that before then, that would be helpful then for our follow-up council meeting on the next Monday.
Mhm.
So your motion was to table it?
I would table it. I would
So
make a
then-
motion to table it.
second,
So motion made second to table the action, the purchase of the tanker in the amount of $350. With the information being supplied to council, the grant, the contract, grant possibilities and escrow?
Mhm.
Yep.
I know we need it. I would just like that information so I can better understand.
All right, motion second. Any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, Tom, for coming in. Appreciate it.
Good, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the contract with CIT, City Technology Advisors, to establish two-factor authentications which require change of Microsoft platform. Two-factor authentication required by municipal insurance company.
All right.
I've heard of this, but I'm not an expert on it,
Yeah,
so someone
the-
else can explain it to me better.
The fun just never ends. There's always money that needs to be spent. So because of, all of the stuff that's happening in the world with all of the pipelines and everything else, our insurance company is requiring us to go to the two-step authentication. So you've done this before if you have a credit card or you have any other type of account, you have to either get an email or a text sent to you with a verification number to put in to identify that it is you to do that. And our insurance company is requiring it, otherwise we may not be able to get insurance with them. So we're working with CIT, who is our third-party technology. They're looking at $7,950 for implementing all of it. And now it will affect every one of you with your emails, so just so you're aware of that. And then 296, but we're also rearranging some of our contracts with them, so it won't be any higher than we're paying right now.
Is the monthly subscription that for their services, or is it for like third-party software that's actually doing it?
Third-party software.
Where would this money be coming from?
Well, and that's why it's here right now. It's gonna have to come from reserves, is where it's gonna have to come from. And then the 296 is divided, we get a bill from them on a monthly basis, and it's divided amongst water, sewer, storm. Everybody that uses our computers, it's divided amongst all of them, so.
when I was a volunteer with Alina Hospice, we used one of those, they gave us all a random
Yep.
thing. Is that a better possibility, or
There-
because
No.
They've gone away, pretty much gone away from.
have they?
All companies and everything. Anytime I
Yeah.
even try and get into my email at work, I have to answer a text message or answer
Yeah.
a call.
Yeah.
Okay,
Get a code off your text. and-
yeah, I've done
Yeah.
that for other things.
Yeah, and that's what we're gonna have to do now too.
So you're saying coming from reserves or
Reserves.
contingency?
Reserve, we've used most of our contingency.
So we're renegotiating our contract with them?
Yeah, we renegotiated the contract with them for our monthly services, and we're reducing that right now, so we pay $1,498 a month. Adding the 296, we will be less than that, actually. We'll be around 1,300
Okay.
a month with them, so we reduced some of the things they'll be doing.
It's either that or we get new insurance, it sounds like?
Oh, yeah, boy, I don't think we're gonna find anybody that's not gonna want it now.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Motion made and second approve the contract from CIT. With the money coming right now from our reserve fund to pay the difference. Is there any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is the Planning Commission. We had a recommendation from the Planning Commission to approve the certified survey map for basically it's Costco Marine.
I would make the motion to approve the survey map from the planning commission for Casco.
Second,
Motion made second to approve the certified survey map in our packets for basically Casco Marine Incorporated. Is there any other discussion on the motion?
Does everybody know what they're doing?
Combining
They're
the
just
lots.
combining their two lots.
Yeah.
So they can do some additional building.
Right. Okay, just making sure.
No problem, appreciate it. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is parks and public property, and I'll let whoever wants to present this
Okay.
one since I'm not 100% sure.
I can do that. So we have in front of us a contract with Applied Trails and Boardwalk Design LLC for designing some trails in McGee Park, which it's a great step forward for our Cooley Trail group. And we've had discussions at the parks meetings, and we made the recommendation to move forward with it. The cost is quite a bit less than what this person normally charged, and the person that's actually designing the trails did Lebanon, which is really awesome. So hoping to get some mountain bike trails, some hiking trails, all that jazz. So based on that, I would make the motion to approve the contract. And that will be about $700 per mile. And I believe Israel said they won't be exceeding like 3 miles or
Yeah.
3 or 4 miles.
It was minimal.
So it's going to be low dollars to get this started.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made second to approve the request contract with Applied Trail Design and Boardwalk on the amount of $700 per mile with do you want to say a maximum of 3 miles or 4?
No, I wouldn't
Nothing?
put it.
Okay.
The funds are coming from the,
That
The
50.
trails.
But
yeah,
and then we
capital
understand the funds are
project
coming from the
trails.
50,000 that
Yep.
we presented to them. All right, is there any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Bailey, they're starting May 26th by cleaning McGee
June.
Park.
June. Oh, yeah. So I was going to do another
June.
business, but we are doing a park cleanup on June 26th. We're looking for volunteers. We're going to have a bunch of people go down there and help us pick up the garbage so we can start getting ready to do the trail.
What's that date again?
June 26th.
What time?
I need to double check. You can reach out to Israel. He's
Yeah.
kind of putting all this together. He's been really awesome about this whole thing and trying to help steer it. So June 26th.
Okay.
At McGee Park.
Yep.
All right, thank you, Bailey. Next item on the agenda is licensing. We got the intoxicated beverage licenses. We did a public notice. I don't know if you want to do them as a, well, they can't do them as a group because there's 2 that are applying
No.
for an available license,
Right.
correct?
So, what we have is St. Croix Liquor and Point St. Croix Marina are both applying for that Class B that's still available. We haven't issued that in a number of years. So it's up to you guys if you want to.
Who are they again, Jane?
It would be St. Croix Liquor LLC.
The bottom 2 on the
If
first
you remember,
big
he
paragraph.
wanted to do a restaurant. And then Point St. Croix Marina. It was the other
Oh,
one
yeah.
that's like-
But we have
Okay.
not seen any plans for a restaurant.
No.
And I know we issued it one time, and I think I vetoed it just for the fact I think we save it for a little bit larger project.
Yeah.
So I know St. Croix Liquors, we said you bring in and show us what your restaurant's gonna look like, possibly.
Mhm.
And Point St. Croix Marine, I think it's just it's a seasonal one, so I think that's why we haven't issued it to them.
Yeah.
So, just
So
FYI.
now,
Thank you.
this is totally up to you guys, but we still did have some issues downtown this weekend. So I don't know if you want to bring it in a couple of the establishments to have a face-to-face. We could pull those out.
Absolutely.
The ones that I would suggest, I guess, after talking to Eric, would be Two Rivers, Muddy Water, or not Muddy, No Name Saloon, and Scabs would be the 3 that the license
gonna say
committee
Muddy
may
Water.
want to have a face-to-face.
Yeah.
Muddy Waters?
Not Muddy, No
That's what I
Name.
was saying, yeah.
Two Rivers, No Name, and Scabs, maybe the 3 that you want to pull. And then we can have a license meeting and just have a real face-to-face with them.
What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I'm, you know, I'm not gonna venture my opinions about what's going on down there. I think a lot of it, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in our society right now. And this may be a reflection of that.
Yep.
It couldn't hurt to pull them together, and I think maybe Eric is the guy to be talking to these
Well,
guys.
I think we need him as part of the discussion. I mean, it seemed to work, we had the state gentleman in, and that next weekend, it was nice. They turned away one person, got it for disorderly conduct because he continued to go downtown. They all worked together. This weekend, we had 3 fights. And we
So,
just
well,
can't continue with
Same
this.
people or different people? Same culprits?
Yes,
Same
culprits.
establishment culprits, but
yes.
I think I was at that meeting in its entirety, and so was Maureen. Tom had to leave to go to the fire and EMS meeting, but I felt like there were particular establishments who didn't want to take any responsibility for anything. I felt like there was one establishment that needs to invest in security, some sort of security, and this needs to be addressed at that meeting, because I have no problem suspending their liquor license if they're not gonna take this seriously. I'm done with it, quite frankly.
Yeah, we just can't.
Wasn't it Two Rivers who gave everybody the act?
Absolutely.
Yep.
And they still had a fight.
Yeah,
And
And
they
it-
have security on the property.
yes.
They
But we
do,
need to
but-
address that.
Right.
What is the problem that seems to be missing?
Is it over serving or something that
Yeah.
caused the?
Yeah, I know, we talked a lot about
We did
over-service.
talk a lot about
So
it.
if we take that recommendation, I'd entertain a motion to approve the Class B combination license with the exception of Mellon's Joints, Pierce Grill LLC, and Schickling LLC, as well as St. Croix Liquors and Point St. Croix. So I'd entertain a motion to approve all but those 5.
No, there's 2 on here, so just.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made and second to approve the Class B combination license with the exception of
Broad Street,
Mellon's
I guess, is the
Melon's
one.
Joints, Pierce.
No, it'd be
Grill.
Prescott Grill. Prescott Grill LLC, doing business as Pilot House.
Okay, here it says, up top, okay,
Pierce
okay,
Grill
okay.
is the
I see.
Broad
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Prescott Grill. So it's Prescott Grill, Melon's Joint, Schickling's LLC, and then St. Clair Liquors and Point St. Clair
When is
Marina.
that next meeting with them then? Because it says that,
Right, they're due at the end of the month.
Month.
So we have some time to get them in next week.
And then
okay,
the
'cause
next council, we can approve them yet before
Yeah,
July.
and then you'll have the last
that's
council
what I wanna
meeting.
make sure that we're not like,
Yep.
Right, no, I wouldn't want to hold up anybody's license for
I got a second
non-renewal,
council meeting to get this.
but I do,
alright, yeah.
We need to have more discussions.
we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, as
So-
long as we're not like saying, okay. we're gonna-
No, we wouldn't want to do that.
Motion made and seconded then to approve the Class B combination with the exception of those 5. Is there any other discussion on that motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, one opposed. Next item, well, we could do the, I
You
guess
do the
we
rest
could
of
do the rest of them. You could do the Class A combination licenses as listed, the Class B beer licenses listed, the Class B beer and Class C wine licenses as listed, and the Class A beer and Class A liquor licenses as listed in our packets.
Oh, excuse me, Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
We did not say that we were not granting a Class B combination to St. Croix Liquor or Point St. Croix.
Yeah, that was included in the
Oh,
motion.
you did?
No, that was
Okay,
five.
those
Thank
are
you.
the 5.
Nope, I appreciate
Okay,
it.
thank you.
Yep. So I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Motion made, second, approve the Class A combination licenses listed in our packet, Class B beer licenses, the Class B beer and wine, Class C wine, and the Class A beer and Class A liquor licenses listed in our packets. Is there any other discussion on the motion?
I think that we should discuss too about Crazy About Baseball and we want to make sure that we reconfirm with them that area that they were supposed to be marking it off to ensure that no one would
Go
drink
beyond the point.
or go beyond that point.
So
Okay,
with approval with that, a letter reminding them of here's the conditions
Yep.
you have on that license. Thank you, Dar.
Good job, Mark.
Any other discussions or comments? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried. And we got the cigarettes, cigarette license, Bob and Steve's, Leo's Landing, Holiday Express Lane, 2315 Pataxi J, Churchill Liquor, St. Croix Liquor, Croix Distribution Incorporated, and the Dollar General are looking for cigarette licenses.
I make a motion to approve the cigarette licenses for the establishments listed.
I'll second that.
Motion made to approve the cigarette licenses for the established listed for 2021 to 2022. Any other discussion on the motion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item. Amplifier permits, Muddy Waters, Lucille's, Philander's, Scabs, No Name Saloon, Two Rivers Lodge. And that's just for the year, correct?
Correct.
They're allowed, that's up till midnight for
Yes.
them?
I make a motion to approve of the amplifier permit applications for the establishments listed.
Second?
Okay, motion made, second approved, the amplifier permits as listed or as read out. Is there any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now I got the sidewalk cafes. We've already issued one this year, correct?
Well, they've had to come back.
But we issued a new one this year? 'Cause
Oh,
I-
yeah.
I didn't see
You're
Roadhouse
right.
on.
Roadhouse needs to be
Roadhouse, yeah.
included.
They should be on there? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Where, I have a question. Broad Street Bar. That is
Yes.
a new one.
It is a new
Where are
one.
they gonna go?
So they would be out in front of their bar. What they're doing now is they're doing a lot more of the food over at the Broad Street. And so they asked for a sidewalk cafe.
And they're all reminded that they need to leave at least 5 foot of sidewalk?
They've got we'll
Some
provide
look like
them.
they're crowding a little bit, that's why I say I didn't.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Sometimes it does creep, I see.
Just remind them
Right.
on that, so. All right, the 4 listed, Kitchen Table, Muddy Waters, Papachonios, and Twisted Oak, Broad Street
And Roadhouse.
Bar, and the Roadhouse Cafe.
I make a motion to approve the sidewalk cafe applications listed and include Roadhouse.
Second?
Okay, motion made, second, approve the sidewalk cafe applications, the 5 that we read out aloud. Is there any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item is amplifier permit for looks like a band or an individual. I think she gets this every year, right? Laura Sykes gets this every year? And
Yes.
it's
Where is this for?
down on her property, private property, right on Lake Street. Just as you turn down on Lake Street, there's a beach there. It's kind of down along that beach there on the left-hand side.
Oh,
Yeah, it's usually a good band. I would make a motion to approve the amplifier permit for July 3rd and 4th for Laura Sykes.
Third or
From
fourth.
3, 3rd or 4th.
Okay.
From 3 to 7.
I'll second that.
Motion made and second, approve the amplifier permit for either July 3rd or 4th, from 3 to 7 for Laura Sykes, 502 Lake Street. Is there any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request for an amplifier permit for August 22nd, 2021 from Freedom Park from 12:30 PM to 2:30 PM for a River Valley Band.
I would make the motion to approve the amplifier permit for August 22nd for Freedom Park from 12:30 to 2:30.
Second?
Okay, motion made, approve the amplifier permit for August 22nd, Freedom Park, 12:30 to 2:30. Any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have a request from Jim and Carol Toner for a permit for shooting fireworks off on July 4th from 10 a.m. to whatever, till 10:20 it says. Have we allowed this in the past, I assume?
Well,
Or they haven't really had
No,
permission in the past, they just
haven't
did
had
it?
permission in the past. The chief is going to really crack down on fireworks this year.
Yep.
And so when they asked about it, they saw that they were going to crack down. They asked if they could shoot them off, and I said, the only way you can get it is council approval. And then they would have to carry some type of insurance, because if you approve it, fireworks is totally different. Fireworks is personally liable once you approve it.
Is the fire chief aware of it at all, especially if we haven't had a lot of rain or anything like that? Is that something?
I haven't talked to him, but I can definitely get it once.
And so you know,
you approve it.
toners live on Lake Street and they'll shoot it, I'm sure, out over the river.
They do.
Absolutely.
Problem is, we shot them out over a field and they still landed on Turnhouse's car one year.
Yes, they did.
So these could easily land on someone's boat and it could be an issue too.
So, based on
What
that,
about the pollution in the river?
So are we liable if we approve it, Jane?
I'm
That's
sure we'll get drawn in because we approved it.
Yeah.
But the problem with fireworks is it's the one piece of legislation where you kind of become personally liable. That's why the mayor has never signed them before.
I mean,
As an
I
individual.
wouldn't
I
like to
need-
be personally
well,
responsible.
can't we indemnify?
Well,
We
and
have
that's
an
why he would have to
indemnification?
provide us with insurance.
So I would approve it if they had insurance, if we had an indemnification, indemnifying the city, and approval from the fire chief.
Okay.
And proof of liability insurance, so
Yeah, yeah.
$2 million,
Yep,
or
insurance.
whatever you want to
Yep.
say.
Yep. If they have that, then
Yep.
I wouldn't have an issue.
Yeah, that's what I,
I do have a motion.
Are these the people that usually,
They have in the past. I
They
think.
have.
every year?
they're very conscientious about it. They invite all the neighbors over and,
I know, but are there, how well controlled?
That's it. So I just have a motion. If
That's
I-
why we're having an indemnification. People are gonna buy fireworks, they're gonna let them
Yeah,
off, they're either
yeah,
gonna go out in the
yeah.
country and blow their hands off, or we can do a control room, or responsible people wanna do it.
All right.
So I have a motion.
It was second?
Not yet. I have a motion. Going once.
Second.
Okay, got a motion made and second to approve the request. To understand they gotta get indemnify the city
right,
and provide liability
And
insurance.
the individuals on the council?
yep,
Yep, city and individuals, as well as liability insurance in the amount of what, million or two?
Ask her,
yeah.
I mean, get a reference, I guess, for our
Yeah.
insurance company, and then approval from the fire chief.
okay.
Oh, and then proof from fire chief, thanks, Peter. All right, any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Request was denied.
Okay.
Ordinance Commission or Ordinance Committee, is there any meetings needed to be set up for that?
Probably, we always could use a meeting here or there, but I'll let Jane decide.
Yeah, I
Always do a meeting.
don't think I have anything pressing.
I would say yes, Dar, if we could do an after the 28th.
Yeah,
After my
right.
Parks meeting to
Yeah.
discuss the Lake Street beach. in the
Correct,
beach.
absolutely.
So we can schedule it at the next council meeting, because that'll be at.
I'm gonna be gone the 1st through the 7th of July, FYI.
What?
I know, I'm going to Connecticut, baby.
Meeting's on the 28th.
My meeting's on the 28th, our Parks meeting is what, the 13th?
Our Parks meeting.
Or
We
no,
have-
I'm sorry, City Council meeting is the 13th?
The 22nd.
Wait, that's not the right year.
Oh,
Be the 21st then.
Take that calendar
June
down.
21st will be the next council meeting.
okay. But you're back what day, Dar?
28.
28th is the next council. meeting.
Right.
Yeah, that,
Oh.
Dave, that's 2020 calendar. I gotta take that
Yeah,
down.
but I thought it moved- I just thought it moved, oh, okay, yeah, it does all move
Yeah.
one. I see, because the first was on a
I
Monday.
got a good one right here. So what are we looking at?
Sorry about that.
I was just looking at everything moved one day. and that's
Yeah.
all.
You're back on the 7th?
I'm back on the 7th late.
Could have it then.
Well, like I say, you can schedule it the next, oh yeah.
Yeah, we can
you
do
I'll
it
be
the
in
next
rare
council.
form if we did that, so.
So,
Monday, the, whatever day that would be.
can you do the 5th? Or wait, no, you said you're gone. The 12th?
Absolutely.
This is for ordinance?
Yes.
Yeah, just
12th of-
because I'd like to keep traction going
July,
on
12th
Parks.
of July?
Yes.
That, we have a council meeting.
Yeah, before the
Yeah,
council.
Okay.
Do you wanna do 5 or
I think if
5:30?
we could do 5, that would be great.
I could do 5. I'll make it happen.
We need a full.
Okay,
Yep.
5.
5
Okay.
o'clock on the 12th.
All right,
How's
thank
that,
you.
Jane? That was pretty fast.
Pretty, yeah, you guys are good.
Oh, hey, health and safety, any reason to meet there? That would be the licensing one, right?
No, licenses is its own.
Oh, yeah. Up above.
Other, Prescott Dace is moving along. Maureen, you
Yes,
went to the meeting.
They are a very fun group of people, and they seem to have everything in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've been working closely with Jane, and so.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
Yep, we got all the waivers approved by the city attorney.
Understand.
So I sent them out and so they've got all those, so, yeah.
All right, super. How about Public Works, Robert?
So
We've got one this Thursday.
Thursday, the 17th. Now, I will let you know, because Mike had a death. So I'll let you know for sure.
Okay.
Will you might cancel that meeting?
Yeah, I'll let you know. He should know
Move it.
more tomorrow,
Maybe
so.
move it?
okay.
Okay. All right, Public Works, how about personnel? Nothing
Uh,
at this time? That's in our closed.
After we get done with our
Yeah,
other stuff,
no.
we can
Mhm.
discuss.
All right. Other than that, communications and new business. Public comment. Anybody in the audience would like to speak to council now would be the time to step forward, state your name, address, and give us your comments. No discussion, just comments.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council people, Jane, Beth. My name's Todd Langenfeld, also known as Thomas W. Langenfeld. I came here tonight with two things on the agenda that I really wanted to speak to you about, but having listened to some of your things here, I don't know if it's a good idea to say anything or whatever, but so last time I was here, I was told that you couldn't do anything because you didn't have anything in writing. Now you've got a the fire chief here with a 5-year contract in writing, and you want to renege on it. You guys are, you're baffling me. You're baffling me. You're also baffling me about the fact that you haven't got the money to do this or money to do that. You give away a $600,000 building downtown for $1. That's baffling to me. The other thing, I guess, that's we'll just let that lady. Like, I was wondering if how many of you read Superintendent Spitzula's letter to the editor in the last Pierce County Journal?
I have not seen it yet.
Oh my God, okay. You're quibbling over $42,000 a year. The legislature right now, under these Republican morons, are getting ready to turn down $1.8 billion in federal aid to the state of Wisconsin for the schools. Our portion in Prescott alone is between $1.5 and $1.7 million. That will go away unless action is taken to put a stop to this. I'm urging the city of Prescott, I'm urging all of you individually, I'm urging every citizen that's listening tonight to please contact Representative Petrick, give him an earful. Because if that money goes away, the increase to the city of Prescott, or to the Prescott public school system, is going to be $1.5 million according to the superintendent. And I've spoken with Rick about this. It's going to hit Ellsworth, it's going to hit Pepin, it's going to hit all of the school districts in our area here. So if you haven't read that and you're not aware of that, please make yourself aware of that. You're screwing around for $40,000 a year. This is $1,500,000. Got to go away from the school district if this program that they're working on goes through. You can't make this stuff up. So please make yourself available to that. Please, please, please. Second thing I wanted to talk to you about tonight has to do with the parking lot downtown. First of all, I'd like to say the workmanship looks good. They did a nice job. But I was a little dismayed when I called the city a couple of days ago and asked if I could meet with someone to discuss the blacktopping going on, and I was told that they would get a hold of Mike and he would come down. Well, I called the next day and they were blacktopping. And my plan was, of course, was to hopefully I'm concerned about the drainage down there. And I was hoping to be able to work something out where, Chris was down there doing the blacktopping, because to get the parking lots down there also blacktop, of course, we'd have to pay for it. That wasn't the issue. When we got down there, we were told it's too late, it can't be done, the grading was off, it just can't be done. So now you're going to have a situation, the way it sits right now, there's going to be a ton of water coming down there. And when that water goes in the basement of my building, I'm not going to be a happy camper at all. Now, Chris was nice enough to put a berm up along the back behind the building, and that will probably take a lot of it out of there. But it would have been really nice to have done the whole thing at the same time, have it engineered at the same time. And I know from past experiences that you have no problem assessing people for work done, and it just wasn't done. So I have a proposal tonight that I'd like you to discuss with you, and that is I would like to have you guys come back with the city guys and lay it out with Chris, the blacktop guy, that we could shape up that lot back down there and have it so that all of the drainage comes down and it's done properly. And again, this is not I'm not knocking anybody. It could have been handled differently. It could have been with the point where, if you're going to go out and do road work in front of somebody's house, you get a hold of them. You say, hey, this is what's coming in. It's going to be happening here. You got any problems? Got any questions? Come up and see us. Now, we knew about the blacktop driveway in the back, or the parking lot, excuse me, and in the alleyway. I was under the impression the whole alley was gonna be done. And I was told, by several people that the reason that they didn't do the whole alley was because of cost involved. Is that pretty much what it was? It would have cost a little bit more money. It seems to me that, you're being penny, what is it, penny cheap and dollar poor or something, whatever the hell it is. So my proposal would be to you, we come down, we could shape it so that the water coming off that hill isn't going to go into my basement. We'll go into the drainage system between my building down there and the Freedom Station. We could find out what the cost is going to be, and I would propose then that you would assess me, say over a 5-year period. Chris mentioned about he estimated about $3,500. And I'm saying, well, okay, it is what it is. So I'd be willing to, do it that way. Have you guys assess me $700 a year, pay it off in 5 years instead of 10 years. But I want the same deal that you gave to Lenzen on the steamboat. You gave him 25 grand, no interest for 5 years. That comes to $7,500 of interest that you lost. Because either your city attorney didn't know what the hell he was doing, or somebody didn't know what the hell they were doing. But there's no way in the world that you can lend money out and say, now if you do this, we'll give you the grant, but if you don't do this, we're going to charge you interest, and then you don't charge the interest from the day that you sign the contract going forward. I mean, that's incompetent. So we're talking $7,500 right there that's gone down the tubes. So I would like to see if you can somehow or other come up with a proposal like that. I don't even know what you charge for interest on your deals. I'm sure it's 6-7%, somewhere in that range.
5 to 7.
Yeah, 5 to 7. Yeah. So Lenz and those guys got away. 5 years, 7%. 5 years, 6% is $1,500 a year. 5 years, that's what, $7,500 of interest-free money. So I'm asking that you guys, as a compromise, that you come down, we re-engineer it, and I don't have to come up here the next time we get a gully washer and say to you, I got some water in the basement that wasn't there before. I'm open. Can you discuss that? Or
No, just public comments right now.
it's just public comments right now? Okay.
I'll talk to Mike or
Okay.
we'll talk to Mike.
Thank you. I was told Mike's out of town. And again, not knocking on anybody. The guys did a good job. The workmanship's fine, but it should have been, it could have been handled differently, and it could have been completely done the way it was. Could I ask you just a general, what's the total budget of City of Prescott on an annual basis?
Seth, what's the whole budget?
Ballpark.
The entire budget?
Yeah.
About 12 million.
General fund budget.
What's the shot? What do you spend a year? What are we talking?
I think we looked at it, it was about 12 million.
About 12 million?
Yep.
12
Water
million.
sewer storm.
About 12 million. 12 million bucks.
12.8, I think.
12.8 million, 13 million?
Yeah.
Okay. Just as a general comment from somebody that maybe doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, but it seems to me that if you have $24,000 a year amortized for 10 or 20 years, whatever it was, that's an awfully small percentage of your entire budget to have tanker trucks available, with all due respect. And it seems to me that if you have a contract, this is the first I heard about it tonight, but if you have a contract signed with the townships, which entails everything, everything. You know how much money out of your tax money you send to Mississippi because they get floods or they get hurricanes, and how much money you send to California because they got earthquakes. It's absolutely mind-boggling. So it seems to me that we're just, you're going to make enemies if you renege on that contract. You're going to make enemies.
Right. Thanks, Ted.
I don't think you want that. Thank you very much.
Any other public comments? Anybody in the audience or council have public comments? Jane?
We just like to comment that they've paid interest on that 25,000 at the interest rate of 5.25 each year for 5 years. So.
Okay.
Paying it forward though, Jane, not from the date that they got the money.
They're paying it on an annual basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, after the 5 years are up, you gave them the money 5 years ago.
No discussion. Thank you. We'll talk later.
Well,
about it.
no, that's incorrect, Mayor.
We'll find that out and make sure the correction is made. I know where you're coming from,
Factually
Todd.
not correct. It's not, if I may, just. if-
Public comment, we're not discussing. We'll end it here.
All right,
I'm
then,
not-
I just
no,
say the public,
no,
the public comment
no.
is, it's my understanding, and I've checked with these people, is that when that money was given to the guys to tear down a steamboat, your contract with them said, if you don't do something in 5 years, we're gonna charge you interest, and you have to pay the money back. So, you got day one, and you got 5 years away, and they've got that money, and they paid nothing on it. They didn't get anything done, so now they're starting to pay it back with interest going forward. But that doesn't mean that they didn't get the 5 years interest-free. You go to a bank, or you go anywhere.
I understand finance, Todd. Thank you. I
know you do.
appreciate that.
Thank you, Dean.
You bet. All right, any other public comments? If not,
I
Oh.
have to quick.
one more public,
So I-
oh, that one.
Yeah, I just need to
That's right.
kind of put this in front of you guys so that we can get some parts ordered. We had some issues with the air conditioning and furnaces out at Freedom Park, and it's real complex. And so we are going to have to replace them. We did try to get another bid from Prescott Electric, but they haven't been able to give us a bid. So we got the total here of almost, $20,000 to complete these.
Didn't we have some, didn't they have this
7,500.
as a capital project
Yeah,
or like?
7,500.
We had 7,500 budgeted for this year.
Oh, and then it was a little worse than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so, but it's 3 weeks out before they can even get the pieces, and I know it's been hot out there at
So they
Freedom
have
Park.
no
so-
AC?
Hmm?
They have no AC?
They have one that they can open a door
Oh.
and try to get it in, and
Wow.
so if you guys are under the consensus, we'll bring it back for full approval, but I just would like to go ahead and move forward with,
I'd say, yeah, go ahead and at least let them get the parts ordered.
Right,
And then we'll get
yeah.
approval to
Okay.
purchase them and whatnot at the next council meeting.
yes, okay, thank you.
So are these, these are two separate ones?
Two separates, we have to do both,
Two separate units.
yeah.
So we're gonna order the parts and then we'll approve it. Won't pay for it till then, but at least they can order them.
How
Any
old
other
is-
public comments?
How old is it?
2006
It's
was when the
2006.
building was built.
Okay.
All right.
Motion to go into closed session?
Second.
Motion made second to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 1985 1C, declaring employment, promotion, compensation, city administrator's position, and clerk's wages. Roll call. Rob?
Aye.
Maureen?
Aye.
Dar?
Aye.
Bailey?
All right.
Thomas?
Aye.
We are now into closed session, so thank you everybody for coming tonight.